The U.S. and China battling it out over big tech. Bloomberg reporting that semiconductor CEOs told the Biden administration last week that they should study the impact of export restrictions and pause before implementing new ones. Joining us right now for his take, Kyle Bass, Hayman Capital Management founder and chief investment officer. Good morning to you. We just had Nikki Haley on the broadcast, who was warning us about the perils of doing business with China. Do you have a different view about this idea in terms of what the semiconductor CEOs were telling the president?
Good morning, Andrew. I think that if you look back to the single largest crowning achievement of the Biden administration's foreign policy has been this outbound restriction, or let's say the restrictions that were imposed October 7th of 2022. If you go back and you read the Commerce Department's kind of edict from that day, if they believe that, back when there was a bipartisan consensus on chips for supercomputers and semiconductors, for them to go back now and poke holes in that policy, the whole thing could fall apart. So I think what you see acting now, Andrew, is just lobbying money, right? It's the chip CEOs chasing the dollars at the end of the Chinese rainbow. And in the end, they aren't tasked with U.S. national security and protecting us. So I think what's happening here is Chinese money and U.S. companies that do business in China is coming into K Street, and it's starting to potentially affect the administration.
When you think about the other big issue, which is, some people think that these companies, the semiconductor companies, are effectively selling to other countries and other companies, and that those chips are still making their way to China. I know you've thought about this a lot. How would you hold the chip companies responsible for that?
Yeah, that's a great question, Andrew. And I think when you even look to the sanctions on Russia or the restrictions that we have on outbound to Russia and China, it's important to note that when the Bureau of Industry and Security at Commerce or when Treasury's OFAC implements these kind of restrictions, we have to have the follow-up. We have to have potential secondary sanctions and restrictions going on those that are helping contravene primary sanctions. So far, we haven't been willing to do that. And so I think it's why our sanctions on Russia have fallen flat. It's why Russia's selling oil above the imposed price cap. And it's why, to your point, even in the initial October 7th edict, they had China and Hong Kong on there together, and they specifically exclude Macau. They say Macau must be something different than China in the Commerce Department's release. So I think allowing workarounds, loopholes, or other countries to help repackage and reship these things should carry consequences. And we need people in the administration to impose restrictions and penalties as those consequences become real. Right now, those consequences, there aren't any out there. I haven't seen any secondary sanctions or restrictions put on anyone.
Kyle, I don't want to be Pollyannish about the security concerns and national security concerns that we all probably should have, not probably, but must have. But I also wonder whether the rhetoric that's coming out of the U.S. now, even more so than China in terms of what's being said, is only raising the temperature, and whether there is any argument that you would make to cooling down that temperature.
I think that I think that peace through strength is key. And I think weakening, again, the crowning achievement of the Biden administration's foreign policy establishment is only going to show that you can come in and create workarounds with money. And so when you talk about whether or not the rhetoric needs to be cooled down or not, don't listen to what China says and their government officials say. Look at what they're doing. I gave a talk at the Hudson Institute, a briefing a couple of weeks ago, on how I believe she's preparing for war. If you just get out a whiteboard and write facts on a whiteboard, then I think that kind of strategy of bowing down or weakening rhetoric to not upset China is the wrong path. I think we just need to state facts. Here's the thing I can't figure out.
Kyle, you're a smart guy. There's a lot of smart people around the hoop, politicians who hopefully are smart, CEOs who have economic stakes in all of this, who should be incentivized, and I would argue incentivized long term to do the right thing. Either you're right, and China really is prepared to go to war, or all these other people are right and they're not.
Yeah, I mean, I look at the facts. If you look at just 3 years ago, they had 100 missile launch sites. Now they have 140. They have 10 years ago, 15 years ago, they had 35 naval warships. Now they have 350. The build that China is showing you in the nuclear arms race and the warship arena are unprecedented in our history. And so I'm just giving you the facts, Andrew, and whether you believe they're prepared or not to, quote, go to war, it's clear. If you listen to Xi Jinping since 2017, in every speech he's ever given, he's talking about reacquiring the Taiwanese separatists. He's bringing the world to a very dark place, and he's telling you he's going to do it. So the people that have incentives to keep making money is back. It's akin to Chuck Prince saying, well, we're going to dance while the music's playing. I think those that are really interested deeply in national security and the foreign policy establishment, they take you to a very, very different place than the private sector does. And in the end, I think that the writing is on the Great Wall, and we're going to see some more belligerence out of China. And I don't think any of our rhetoric's going to change or should change.